What's going on, guys? This is Chris Matsui, Fusion Performance Trainer here in New York City. We have a video here with Dean Otsuka. He's a 62 kilo lifter, and we've been trying to work on Dean's jerk position, and I think it's really important to address this, especially since he has some shoulder issues. So let's go ahead and just take a look at his split jerk in full speed first. Okay, so Dean's clearly strong and extremely powerful. I think his best lifts are 120, something along those lines. Not exactly sure, but he's obviously a very strong kid. One of the big issues that we see is that this position here, right, his catch. So when you see it, his torso is leaning forward. He's putting a lot more stress on his shoulders than he needs to. The way we teach things here is we want to have more of an upright torso, so everything's stacked on top of each other and you don't torque the shoulder at all. So the thing that you want to take a look at first is the dip, right? So as we look forward, Dean's dip, you can start to see him shift, right? So as you go through, he dips, and then he starts to shift. Watch it again, dips, and then now he's going to start to shift forward as he goes up. And that's going to throw the momentum forward. And then his tendency also, Dean's tendency is to bring his torso forward instead of just tucking in his chin. So one of the cues a lot of people say is just to push your head through. But you don't want to go on the other spectrum and go too far forward, right? So what we use for most of our lifters is to just tuck in the chin. So not to push the head forward, but just tuck in the chin, okay? So to fix the issue, what I would suggest for Dean and what we've been trying to work on is for him to just slow down his dip, right? You can see full speed, it drops really quick. But if he was to rework the position, that means he would need to go a little slower so he knows where his weight should be distributed on the foot. So because he's driving down so fast, he just starts to shift. He starts to shift forward here, which isn't obviously a good position because then it throws him forward. So a simple cue for him and things that we'll work on is just for him just to work on his jerk dips. He may do just eccentric dips and a pause. He may add in some split jerks where he pauses in the dip and maintain position toward the back foot, keeping his chest up and then drive up. So those two things are probably the best things for him to work on, slowing down the dip and the pause split jerk, and even just eccentric squat dips. Once Dean understands the position and is consistently hitting it, both in the dip and the drive, make sure that he's staying upright. At that point, he can go ahead and revert back to a faster dip if he finds that it's more beneficial and helpful for him. But I find the first thing is to slow down the movement so that the weightlifter understands it, conceptualize it, and actually applies it correctly. And then you can start to pick up the pace. It seems like a lot of lifters they want to go 100 miles per hour. But if you're reworking a position, you have to slow down the movement for you to be able to fully understand what's going on and feel it out, because it's so subtle. So the biggest thing here is start from a slow position, understand the movement, understand the position, and then you can start to pick up the pace. And then the other cue is also, as we just talked about earlier, is just for his torso not to go forward. So to fix that, what you can do, if it keeps happening, what you can do is just do a pause in the split with lighter weight. So do a pause in the split and just kind of feel it out. So hold that position. Is your torso forward? What's going on? So things that we've done, we found successful that keeps your chest upright is to do a pause in the dip and then re-bend the knee. So bend the knee up and down. because in this position, he's not stacked on top of each other. So if he starts to rebend that knee down, he's going to have to refix his torso, which will automatically give him a cue that he's, his chest is dropping forward instead of keeping everything upright. The other thing is obviously we probably want more of a vertical shin, but that's something for maybe down the road. But he generally has a pretty good split, so it's not something that I'd be worried about. The biggest thing is just really the dip in his catch position, especially since he already has a pre-existing shoulder issue. So that's it for today. If you're catching the split in this position, just think about even though it's minor, the total accumulation of stress on your shoulder throughout the week. So if you jerk 3 or 4 times a week, or if this is something that you're really hammering down, you're doing up to maybe 8 to 10 sessions a week of jerking, and you're constantly doing this, your shoulder is going to take a beating, especially with the snatch. I assume if you're catching the position overhead like this, you may very well be doing the same thing in the snatch. So I hope this is helpful. If you have any questions or any, if you have any other questions, just feel free to leave a comment, and we'll talk to you soon.